This October, Blue Apron is celebrating its 5th anniversary by bringing back its top 20 recipes from the last 5 years. They're all picked by you, the Blue Apron community. I am part of the Blue Apron community. I love Blue Apron. Your favorite Blue Apron recipes are all back on the menu just for a limited time. Blue Apron is all about giving the people what they want. What the people want is fresh recipes to explore as they learn to cook new dish after new dish. Which is why, and a lot of people don't realize this, they don't repeat recipes within one calendar year. This is what makes this limited time offer so exciting. You can get the best Blue Apron recipes picked by the Blue Apron community right now. Blue Apron delivers seasonal recipes along with pre-portioned ingredients to make delicious home-cooked meals. You can customize your recipes each week based on your own preferences. Every meal comes with a step-by-step, easy-to-follow recipe card with the pre-portioned ingredients, and they all get prepared in 40 minutes or less. Blue Apron's freshness guarantee promises that every ingredient in your delivery arrives ready to cook, and if it doesn't, they will make it right. You can check out this week's menu and get $30 off your first meal with free shipping by going to blueapron.com/Jalen. You will love how good it feels, how good it tastes. You will love creating incredible home-cooked meals with Blue Apron, so do not wait. That is blueapron.com/Jalen. Take advantage of this opportunity. Blue Apron, a better way to cook.
And now, Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN Radio.
When I pop the trunk, head to death. Y'all pop the trunk, I pop the hood. Now act stupid, I'll pop the trunk. Now give me your boom.
He is Jalen Rose.
What up, Del?
I'm David Jacoby.
And on the cool check-in, center stage on the mic.
And we putting it on wax. It's the new style.
We're Jalen and Jacoby. What do?
We get the people what they want.
Of course we do. And again, we are preempted on the radio, so we have a television show only, but we'll always leave you with a dope pod to step to. And it's weird for us to talk about this so late in the days on the television show, so we do have to talk about it on the podcast because I do have a lot to say about it. Steph Curry, what are you doing with the mouthpiece, man? Jalen, what is Steph Curry doing with the mouthpiece? Like, we can't put this on our TV show that airs Monday night when it happened on Saturday night, but we also can't pretend it didn't happen. What's he doing?
I've been there, done that.
Jacob's behind the curtain.
Been there, done that. A lot of times, the loose materials you have available to you are ones when you get angry, you end up throwing. Like your headband, like your wristband, like your mouthpiece. It doesn't excuse this behavior in any way, shape, or form. Fortunately for him, he's only been ejected from 2 basketball games ever. The problem is both times that it's happened, once in the NBA Finals and once during this year's regular season, he also did it in the game. And when this happens, it's not something you condone. It's not something that you want to perpetuate. So I look for the league to send a strong financial message to Mr. Curry and a pink slip.
Don't you feel like he should have been suspended by now?
If he was going to be suspended, I think he would have been suspended. I do say this respectfully. When you walk in front of the judge, he does pay attention to your rap sheet. And also the bottom line. And then they make a decision at that point concurrently. I think for Steph, what probably is going to happen, he's going to get suspended for 1 game and fined $25,000.
He should be suspended, I feel like. I mean, it is just a mouthpiece, but you are throwing something at an official. And if you push an official, you're going to get suspended. So how are you going to throw something at an official and not get suspended?
Oh, you don't have to worry. He will.
He's pretty accurate with the mouthpiece throwing. Like, remember, he tried to make it seem like he wasn't throwing at that one fan when it was the NBA Finals, but that fan was the most demonstrative fan in his sight line, and he definitely hit that fan that he was trying to get then.
And that fan represented one of the sons of a minority owner of the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Mm-hmm. And
how about this, though?
What?
And I want to make sure I say this. It may feel old, too. But you remember a handful of days ago when everybody just was so excited about the Dodgers and the Yankees playing in the World Series?
Yeah, that didn't happen.
You remember that?
Yeah, I do.
Red, you remember that?
No. Yeah, he
Jacoby,
does.
you remember that?
Yeah, I do. Yep.
And by the way, I love New York City just like the next man that is not from there. And the ones that ride for the city will tell you, oh man, they'll scream from the heavens about their squad, especially when they're winning. It's almost like a headline that's negative. Oh man, it's in bold print when they're winning. But when they're losing, oh man, it's in fine print. You got to look for them.
Mm-hmm.
They ain't talking about it. There ain't a lot of conversation about them right now.
The Yankees?
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. What do we always say about going into a season? How do we evaluate teams?
We judge success based off realistic expectation.
And I would say that if you had a Yankee fan at the beginning of the season and you asked them what the realistic expectations were, they would say make the playoffs. That's what we want to do. Yeah. So to make it to Game 7 of a championship series is actually a successful season for the Yankees. And I've been saying this to my Yankee fan friends all weekend long.
And I also have to say this. Big shout to Lil B, the bass god.
Shout out.
And KRS-One said this best. Stop the violence in hip-hop. Why-yo? Stop the violence. Stop the violence.
What?
You read the entire internet, right?
What did I miss? What happened? Oh, I didn't
you don't
see
read
that.
the entire internet?
I've been traveling this weekend.
Got it.
I've been traveling this weekend. I forgot about that one. That was a non sequitur from Darrell Revis there. I was confused. I thought we were talking about Steph Curry, and then went to the Yankees, and next thing you know, you started singing. I was confused. Sometimes I'm not with you, Jay. My bad.
All good. That's what I'm here for.
Not only do we give the people what they want, we give them what they want first. It's time for some broken news. Jalen, remember when the Cavs had Dwayne Wade and they announced Ty Lue was so proud that he was going to be in the starting lineup? Well, here's what we had to say about that when that was announced.
If I'm him at this point of my career, I want to come off the bench.
Yeah, I might like that second unit. I might like going against that second unit a lot more.
And so we'll see
We'll
because
see. I think this starting line is going to fluctuate a lot.
A short-term solution to a long-term issue, and don't be surprised if they ultimately settle on the fact that JR's back in the starting lineup.
I wouldn't be surprised either.
And
I think they're going to shuffle their starting
to play
lineup
with the
a lot.
second
They have a lot
unit.
of good players that
We
can start.
shall see.
Well,
I kind of couldn't hear what I was going to say because you were talking over me the entire time.
Listen, what I have to say is much more important than what you have to say, so I talk over you the entire time. Do you not know that? That's what the people want, Jalen Rose.
I didn't realize it sounded that way.
That's what the people want. Well, here we are, just 3 days into the regular season, and via our guy, Dave McMenamin, we have this report. He says, quote, Ty Lue says Dwayne Wade came to him and said he wants to come off the bench. J.R. Smith back to the starting five. Jalen, do you think Dwayne Wade really came to him with this idea?
Can I pull you behind the curtain?
Take us behind the curtain.
Dwayne Wade and LeBron James sit down with a nice bottle of red.
I like where this is going.
They like, let's put in a little footage since we started playing together in Cleveland.
Let's watch a little film. And Dwayne's like, we've never done this before.
First preseason game they got a chance to play, happened to be the final one. Didn't go so well. LeBron had 7 turnovers. Let's pay attention to these plus minuses when we're in the game together. Not the same as it was in Miami. And the big distinction now is LeBron James either has designed, based on being the best player in the game, that he needs to play with guys to maximize their ability and his that are either knockdown catching shooters or guys that'll do the dirty work and the intangibles. And so Dwayne Wade being a slasher and Derrick Rose being a slasher and Bron having the ball, it's like, wait a minute. Milwaukee Bucks, they playing boxes and elbows. I can't get to the bucket. And we talked about it on this show. I gave an over-under of 10 games. that this would not last until. And so I'm not surprised. You're clearly not surprised. This is why people come to our show, because everybody else would be like, oh, Dwayne Wade, he's a future Hall of Famer. He's a 3-time champion. You don't have to kiss up to the players to tell a fact. They respect it. They appreciate it. It just wasn't the best fit. Now coming off the bench with that second unit, I think he'll be able to get his rocks off.
I think that'll be much better for the Cavs. It's a better fit. You want to surround LeBron James with people that can shoot threes. You know who can't shoot threes? Dwayne Wade and Derrick Rose. He wants J.R. Smith out there. He can get him some buckets. So after he's done drinking that bottle of wine with Dwayne Wade, then he gets on the phone. He invites J.R. Smith over. He's like, J.R., and he opens a second bottle of red wine. What does he tell J.R. Smith?
He was like, you know that conversation we had when D-Wade first got to the team? I know you didn't take it so well. Mm-hmm. You even let the media know you didn't like the fact that you didn't get a chance to earn your starting spot, basically because Ty Lue and me decided we was going to give it to my homeboy. But I got some good news for you. I was just talking to Coach Lue. I was just talking to D-Wade. We need you back in the starting lineup.
Mm-hmm. And
he's like, cool. Because, by the way, I got some film for you, too. When you got in the game, you was shooting the first thing that came to you. You was forcing bad shots. I gave it to you late in the shot clock one time and hit off the top of the backboard. We need you in at the beginning of the game so you can find your normal rhythm to help us win a championship together.
And one of the reasons you're here is not just to shoot threes, Mr. Smith. You also have to play defense, something that Dwayne Wade is no longer doing much of in his career. Now, you've already taken us behind the curtain, so let's just stay there. Let's just stay behind the curtain, Jalen Rose, because there's some other really interesting news just 3 games into the season that has come out from the NBA. Earl Watson has been relieved of his duties as head coach of the Phoenix Suns. How does a decision like this get made this early in the season? It seems like if you were going to make a change, or if you were close to making a change, you wouldn't do it after 3 games. What is going on?
See, this is one of those things where, as an organization, you still try to find yourself and understand what you hope to get accomplished from the top down. And if you're going to make a call like this, it clearly needs to take place in the offseason because you have more time to remedy it.
Exactly.
Find a coach. Develop your young players. Get them used to a system you want to run. Get them practicing things that you hope become a part of Josh Jackson's future, who's shown promise as a young prospect, and other young players that they have on their team like Devin Booker, who scored 70 points in an NBA basketball game before. And when you now have Eric Bledsoe, a seasoned veteran who's been around, saying he wants to be traded, it makes me wonder, did he understand that this organization was not making no sound decisions? This is why he came to them in the offseason and said he wanted to get moved before this even happened.
Yep.
And so now all of a sudden you send your season into a tailspin. But I know Jay Triano. I hope he does a really good job in the front seat. But I don't think Earl Watson got a true, clear opportunity to start this year because he got fired after 3 games.
And this Eric Bledsoe thing is spinning out of control. We all know by now that he tweeted, I don't want to be here at one point. And then he went to a meeting and he was sent home. And who knows? But if you're watching a re-air of this show, he could already be on a different team right now because we kind of air all night in an ESPN News. And then there's also this, Jalen. When Suns GM Ryan McDonough was asked about the tweet, here's what he had to say. Quote, he said that he was at a hair salon. I didn't believe that to be true. He won't be with us going forward. That's what you came up with? Eric Bledsoe? That's what you came up with? You know you don't want to be in the team when you don't even come up with a good excuse. I was at the hair salon? At the hair salon? That's what you're tweeting about? I don't want to be here at the hair salon?
Because he probably got a call from Rich Paul like, yo, that ain't the way we handle business, sir. That is not the way we handle business through Twitter. And so when he went into the office with the G, he's like, you know what? I was with the wife. He was at the hair salon. I was there for 4 hours. I just didn't want to be there anymore.
Here's the thing. I've been married a long time, or, not relatively to other people, but it feels like I've been with the same woman for, 15 years. One thing I'm not doing is going to the hair salon with her. He is a newlywed. He just got married this summer. You are a newlywed when you're taking the trip with your wifey to the hair salon. There's no chance I'm going to the hair salon and reading magazines for 2 hours while my wife gets her hair done. That is an opportunity for me to get away and do me. Lying about the hair salon. Come on,
I'm just happy that Molly and you join me at Madison Square Garden and watch Detroit get a win on Saturday. Mm-hmm. Go Pistons!
Pistons look pretty good. You can call 985-80-JALEN. Ladies, we especially need your call because we only take female calls on Wednesdays.
Ladies!
If you call 985-80-JALEN, you can leave us a voicemail just like this.
What's up, David and Jacoby? This is Kenny from Jersey. First and foremost, I want to say, love the podcast. Love what you guys do. In fact, when I wake up in the morning, shout out Jacoby, I got twins. So when I wake up in the morning and wake my twins up for daycare, and they hear, and now, Jalen and Jacoby, they get up and start dancing. So shout out to you, Jacoby. But I got a bone to pick with y'all, man. I got a complaint and a suggestion. So whenever Jacoby says or mentions Women Crush Wednesday, of course Jalen goes, "Hey, lady." So how is it that, and this is particularly to you, Reg, that you guys can be Cameron fans and Dipset fans and not have this particular song that I'm about to mention for the Women Crush Wednesday segment? So, as you guys should know, Cameron's album Purple Haze, track 20, there's a song called Hey Lady. How have you guys not put this into the Women Crush Wednesday segment? That's a failed test for all you guys. Reggie, Jalen, and Jacoby. All you guys failed tests right there. All right? So my suggestion is this. Put either the sample, which is, of course, Zapp and Raja, I Want to Be Your Man sample. Great sample, by the way. Great song, by the way. Put the Hey Lady sample on the soundboard so Jalen doesn't have to say it. Or just use the instrumental from the song. All right? Again, Cameron, track 20, Purple Haze, Hey Lady. Put that on there. Give the people what they want. I'm a people. That's what I want. All right? Shout out.
There's a lot there. If you can always do Reggie's job for him. You know what I mean? He's very coachable. So call in and just tell him what to do.
What happened is Reggie was on the Breakfast Club this morning, so he just got to work.
There's a lot of different Hey Ladies out there in music. The one that I think of when Jalen says it is the Beastie Boys' Hey Ladies from Paul's Boutique album. Their number one, their single from that album, their first single from their second album. There's also this one that you're hearing now from Zapp and Raja, but there's other ones too. Like there's a lot of other old school Hey Ladies songs too. There's a lot of different Hey Ladies references. We need to go to genius.com and just Google Hey Ladies and have Reg pick up a new one every day. Oh, I'm sorry, that'd be work. Let's not do that then. Secondly, there's something that he said that made me very jealous, Jalen.
What's that?
He said he has to wake his twins up. I would give anything to have to wake my children up. I would give anything in the world to have to go in there and wake them up and say, "Hey guys, it's a new day. Everybody wake up." Because that's not how it works around my house. Kids are up early. The sun doesn't even come up until like 6:45 a.m. in Los Angeles now. They're up at 5:45. How do they even know that it's morning time? All of them are up. I just let them sit in there and cry, too, for a long time before I go get them. Coughing, crying, asking for passies, all of that. Thanks so much for the call. Let's listen to another voicemail.
Hey, what up, guys? This is Easy the Prophet from Texas. Hey, so I'm finishing up Friday's podcast, driving up to the gym. And as I pull into the parking lot, I see a guy barefoot. No idea what he's doing. I'm kind of speechless. But my question is walking barefoot in public cultural? Like, come on, man, that's disgusting. And then he's walking in the parking lot barefoot. Like that is weird. I don't know. It's just weird to me. I don't even know what to say, honestly. But yeah, is it cultural? Let me know. I feel like going and letting this guy know to put some socks on, put on some of those big baller sandals or something, or slides, I guess. But anyway, shout out. I hope y'all have a good weekend. Y'all probably going to listen till Monday, but hopefully Reggie finally puts me on. Love the show. Thanks, guys.
Thank you for the call. Easy to Profit. We appreciate the love. Walking barefoot is not cultural.
Okay.
And here's what I mean.
Okay, explain.
Because normally, and please correct me if I'm wrong, if you see someone in public for an extended period of time and they're walking barefoot on different terrain like concrete or the grass or gravel on the parking lot or whatever, I would possibly give that individual the benefit of the doubt that there may be an issue or two that they're probably dealing with.
Yes, most of the people that I see in an urban environment that's not by a beach that are barefoot usually have something going on, mental illness, homelessness, some sort of issue.
And the reason why I said it wasn't cultural, however, is there are people that look like me to do that, but there are also people that look like you to do that.
Sure.
And I don't think culture is the definition of the distinction. I think finance also plays a part.
So now let me go with Easy to Profit's question and just go up one level, because I saw this recently. There's this thing where, like, you know, people, scientists, doctors, whatever, came out with this thing saying that barefoot running is how it's best for your body, right? So it's like, you know, you've seen the running sneakers with the individual toes, and, you know, Nike Free came out. That was probably 10 years ago, blah, blah, blah. Here's the thing. I saw a dude jogging through my neighborhood, which is an urban environment. This is not suburban. This is not the country. This is buses, trains, dirt, dogs, people everywhere, dirty. Running barefoot, Jalen Rose. What? That's cultural.
Well, I used to always believe getting a new pair of gym shoes just made me run faster.
Okay.
So I used to race the whole hood once I got some new kicks.
Were you fast?
I mean, I became a professional athlete. I would hope I was just as fast as the people that I raced in my neighborhood that didn't achieve that feat.
Pun intended.
You like that? You like that? I'm kind of good at this job.
And of course not. Can you only call 98580-JALEN to leave us voicemails? You can also hit us on Twitter. People hit us up on Twitter today. We've got, let me see here. Ryan wants to know, Jalen, soft move or boss move? My friend put the gum in his mouth on the rim of his adult beverage to save it for later so he could have fresh breath. Soft move or boss move?
That's a soft move.
I like this. I'm going boss move right there. I'm going boss move.
Man, let me tell you something. When you go and purchase gum, it comes in a pack, right?
What if this? You don't know this was his last piece? Could be his last piece. I'm assuming it's last piece.
No, I'm not rolling.
What about Marcellus Wiley style, carrying around a huge bottle of water and then chewing up gum and putting it in the bottle of water to give it a little of a minty taste?
That's just nasty.
I like it.
That's just trifling. That dude, though, I feel like that. We got to get him to come on the program and talk about that, because that's just trifling.
Yeah, I like that move. I've always liked it.
That's family, though. So, anybody to Adam know that we 100.
Of course. Next thing, is it possible for Sam Presti to finesse Bledsoe for Robertson and Grant? I don't think so. I don't think anyone's too interested in Robertson right now.
Yeah, not if he shot 2 air balls from the free throw line on national television.
Yeah, I don't know if that's gonna be great. Grant was pretty good though. I've seen him in a couple of those OKC games. I was like,
he got
I remember
bounce.
him. Yeah,
he has activity. He has bounce.
Yeah, you can throw him lobs.
You need
and
young
stuff.
players like that out there playing minutes.
Will the trio in OKC? This is from James. Will the trio in OKC last an entire season?
So I want to hit the brakes on OKC real quick.
Okay.
Now, there was not a person speaking into a microphone nationally as consistent as me since the end of last year's playoffs when I saw OKC play and basically not show up and help Russell Westbrook as they got bounced by the Rockets.
Mm-hmm.
Every day I was trying to get somebody to go to OKC. I talked about Melo, Paul George, Boogie. I've been trying to create another super team because Russell Westbrook is a top 5 player in the game. As I watch the Oklahoma City Thunder perform, it's unique when you have a big three and everybody does something completely different. So, like, when the Celtics added Ray Allen to play with Paul, Ray was the shooter, Paul was the slasher that could shoot, a go-to guy. KG was down low doing all of the 2010, 5, 2 block, 2 steal things that the big check it did. When I watch OKC, the dynamic that's going to be off, and let me rewind the tape. The dynamic that's going to be off is playing Carmelo Anthony as a starter at power forward in the Western Conference.
Ooh, explain.
For those that have not been paying attention, a dynamic scorer, a guy that's going to stretch the floor, while he is a capable catch-and-shoot player, that's not going to be his forte, shooting 65% of his shots from 3. That's just not how he's going to be able to consistently balance what I'm about to explain is going to take place on the other end of the floor. The top teams in the game, uniquely, the Golden State Warriors play KD and Draymond 4 or 5.
Yep.
Not a good matchup for Carmelo.
Nope.
The San Antonio Spurs play LaMarcus and Powell. They just gave both of them $120 million. I wouldn't have done that. Not necessarily a good thing when LaMarcus Aldridge got him on the block.
Mm-mm.
Blake Griffin, 2010 and 5 guy consistently in his career. How about Anthony Davis or Boogie? Like, you pick which one he's going to have to guard. And while each player has strengths and weaknesses, what is Melo's weakness?
Defense.
So you know what happens when you're playing against a guy that's been a power forward or a center their whole life?
Like Blake Griffin.
But you play small forward in high school and college, and now you converted in the East because there are not many powerful 4s and 5s that can punish you. What's going to happen is you get guys like Taj Gibson, for example. They're just big, throwing their forearms around, their elbows around, they're just stronger than you. And what's going to end up happening is foul trouble.
You know what else is going to end up happening?
Frustration.
Carmelo's going to have to box out. You know, Carmelo doesn't want to box out. Like, that's not Carmelo Anthony's thing. You know, I'm not trying to box out Blake Griffin, who's running around pushing me.
And so I appreciate the fact that OKC in a tight game ran a curl play, got it to Russell, drove left, kicked it out to Melo, made a big-time 3. But as the game slows down, I'm going to be watching his fouls. Mm-hmm. That's what you pay attention to moving forward against the elite teams, especially playing the power forward spot.
We have one final question. This is from Reddit. Make sure you go to reddit.com/r/Jalen and Jacoby. We post questions there. It's a community of people listening to the show. I'm in there listening, seeing what all of you are talking about. It's a question, one last question. Soft move or boss move? You're in line to get on the freeway and you see someone who's trying to cut. You keep the space tight with the car in front of you to prevent the cutter from cutting in. Soft
I'm
move
glad
or
you
boss
went
move?
there. This is one of the all-time selfish and soft moves of the history of individuals that are in vehicles.
What? The car cut?
I had somebody do this to me driving over here today.
Okay, talk to me, because I've got a story to tell about this too.
I can't make this up. I'm literally making a left turn in 50 feet. It's a red light. This person is behind me honking that I should be going faster as I'm slowing down because the light is red. I was just in New York this past weekend. Can't make this up. A car will honk at you just to get 2 inches. Mm-hmm. Like the light is red. Where are you going? It ain't my fault you running late or you in a rush.
So, my wife may or may not, in the super van, we call it the super van, the minivan mafia, power couple, capo. We're in the super van. We're going somewhere. We're a little late. It was a workout. You got to get there on time. She cut a long line. Boss move. The person behind us that we cut didn't honk, didn't get mad. They just straight up pulled up half on the road and half on like the gravel, like dirt, and just recut us. Boss move from them. They're like, I don't care if you cut, but you're not cutting me.
But again, when we're rushing, we act out of desperation. Mm-hmm. Are there times I've been the dude driving on the gravel?
Of course.
Yes. And you know what makes me even madder? A dude that don't know why I'm rushing somewhere. I could be bleeding from my head. That wants to get over on the gravel just to block me. I never understood that at all.
In the Sunday night game between the Falcons and the Patriots, we had a very strange sighting. No, not the fog. No, not the camera angle thing. It was this. Bill Belichick actually fist pumping. What do you think of this this display of human emotion from Mr. Belichick?
I think he has done a terrific job of allowing the public and allowing the media to feel like he is so serious about his job. That's the only thing in life that he's ever concerned with. Therefore, he's never happy. He's never satisfied. He's never content.
No days off.
He doesn't enjoy his job. He is not happy. He's just a guy wearing a cutoff hoodie. So when I see this level of emotion, which isn't much, it just makes me think what I already know. He's a human being.
What I love about it is that, if I'm correct, I believe this was after a blocked field goal early in the game. Like, it wasn't a big touchdown or the clock running out. It was a blocked field goal. He got pumped about it. Good for Bill Belichick and the Patriots. So, there's been so much attention about the national anthem protests. It feels like we're at an all-time high from the actual discussion about it. It's being talked about by non-sports media. It's being talked about by the White House. And then we have Adam Schefter reporting that the anthem has affected ratings to the point and merchandise sales to the point where it has pretty much delayed the completion of Roger Goodell's contract. Now, with all of that being said, this weekend in the 14 games that were played on Thursday and Sunday, there were only 11 players that sat or knelt during the national anthem. Is the hype and the discussion and all of this spun out of control and way blown out of proportion to the actual protest?
Don't fall for the banana in the tailpipe, people.
Okay.
The gentlemen who chose their jobs, in this case, football on Sunday, Monday, and or Thursday, that are actual NFL players, I applaud them for standing for something. Otherwise, you fall for anything, because most people aren't willing to make that sacrifice for their job or their profession. So they need to be commended, because as an American citizen and someone that pays taxes, this is what our great country is about. Allowing you the opportunity to have emotions, have feelings, and have the opportunity to do exactly what you feel at that moment. In this case, some people have chosen to kneel. Other people have chosen to be seated. Now, when you talk about the ratings and the jersey sales being down, you can't dispute those facts. Mm-hmm. But since the monopoly that the NFL has over the United States of America is going to continue for decades and decades to come, there could also be other reasons for those declines, like millennials aren't watching as much television. They're not as excited about the current stars in the game.
The National Basketball Association as well.
Aaron Rodgers, Odell Beckham, J.J. Watt, major pitchmen have been injured. How about this one? People don't talk about the fact that when Colin Kaepernick actually chose to be seated or take a knee, where did his jersey rank amongst sales? Oh, it was number one. So what about the fact that there are actually people that are protesting the league because he does not have a job at this point? And by the way, it's almost becoming laughable when I see Carson Palmer, Jake Cutler. These guys go down and get injured on a weekly basis. Like, it's become a mockery at this point that Colin Kaepernick hasn't gotten an opportunity to quarterback in the National Football League.
What do you think about this extension from Roger Goodell? Like, why were they discussing it in the first place? He doesn't seem to be someone who's in a position who's doing such a great job that we need to lock him in before some other company comes along and steals him away.
See, this is where I don't lose why the people were protesting social equality and police brutality versus the actual conversation that surrounds it. And the same thing I'm not going to do for Roger Goodell. He's going to get a deal. Mm-hmm. He isn't in the final year of his contract. And lastly, the NFL still printing money. And so as long as that's happening for 32 owners, he's going to have his status. Now, are there people behind the scenes like a Jerry Jones trying to use the fact that he isn't currently signed by saying, hey, we'll take some leverage on the fact that if you're not able to get everybody to be seated, to stand and salute the flag when it's being played, then we'll delay your bread. We'll delay your contract. It's still going to get done, and we all know it.
So last week, after beating the Chiefs, there were some murmurs and some rumors around the Steelers that Martavis Bryant was actually requesting a trade and that he wanted out. Well, after the game this week, he did something which is never a good idea. He went into the comments on Instagram and he posted this about people saying that his cohort, Juju Smith-Schuster, was a better player. Quote, Juju is nowhere better than me, fool. All they need to do is give me what I want, and y'all can have Juju and whoever else. So now we have Martavis Bryant going into the Instagram comments and not just defending himself, but also kind of dissing his teammate. He did go on later to delete that and then write about how great Juju is and blah, blah, blah. Why does he think that going through Instagram comments is going to get him what he wants?
I'll never deny somebody that feels like they have one opportunity, but they're plotting for a better one.
Okay.
Never. Because that's what being successful is all about. Had he settled at one point of his life, he never would have gotten to the position that he's in. So to pursue what he hopes is a bright future, possibly with another team, I can't be mad at that. For a player who's shown flashes of being able to stretch the field and make plays, but also can be suspended for habitual.
Habitual medicinal in long periods of time.
I would say there's only one term that I can use. It's just unprofessional.
You know, it's like
because you don't talk about your team and or your teammate publicly in a negative light, especially in somebody's Instagram comments.
Come on now. It's not what you do, it's how you do it, Martavis. If you want to leave, there's another way to approach this. You can get what you want in a much more professional manner, and I hope you do get what you want. Not everything is worth discussing. If it is worth discussing, Jalen Rose will ask me to hit the brakes. If it's not, we'll just keep moving with Method Man. The NFL has not ruled out the possibility of Janet Jackson joining Justin Timberlake the halftime of the Super Bowl. Keep it moving and hit the brakes.
Jay-Z turned that gig down. I love Justin. Keep it moving. And by the way, I love Beyonce, but her and Janet, they about equal.
What?
Man.
What?
Penny from Good Times?
What?
Janet Control?
What?
Pleasure Principle?
Jalen, we're about the same age, so this is not an age thing. Beyonce over Janet all day, every day, forever and ever and ever. And I'm going to pretend you never said that and just move on. They have updated MVP odds in the NBA with a new favorite. Keep it moving or hit the brakes.
I know who it is. Hit the brakes. Not just knee deep. He's got knee deep. As he did the Frank with that.
Giannis Antetokounmpo is now the favorite of MVP. I know it's earlier in the season, but he is averaging 38.3 points, 9.7 rebounds, 5 assists, 2.7 blocks, 1 steal a game, 67% shooting. What do you expect this torrid pace to keep up for Giannis Antetokounmpo?
I do. Like, his height, he doesn't settle. You know, sometimes when people aren't knockdown shooters, in particular from three, all of a sudden they find themselves standing behind the three-point line and people like open for a reason. Mm-hmm. He's the kind of guy, he's so long, and now he can embrace contact. All he do is go downhill and drive at you. So you're better off just not giving him that space. He turns over both shoulders. He dunks with both hands. He scores off post-ups. He scores in transition. Like, the sky's the limit for him literally as a basketball player, and competes on the defensive end.
Yep.
You hear people always say, well, that guy guards 5 positions. Ha, 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 ha. No, they don't. The only 2 guys in the league that guard 5 positions are Greek Freak and Draymond Green.
That's interesting. Next, Mark Cuban has some ideas about how to solve tanking.
I like Mark Cuban. I'm glad Rick Carlisle's their coach. Get well soon, Steph Curry. He ain't the person to talk about this. Keep it moving.
Yeah, let's keep it moving.
Because he just talked last year about why it was a good idea.
LeBron James threw his daughter Zuri a beautiful birthday party. Keep moving or hit the brakes.
He's the king. Keep it moving. Happy birthday.
In Italy, a police escort ruined the Venice Marathon. Keep it moving or hit the brakes.
Hit the brakes. I saw David Jacoby finish a marathon.
I was tired at the end of that. Woof. That beer tasted good, though. Runners followed a police motorcycle, and it took a right-hand turn, which took them 1 minute the wrong way. This took them into the highway, on the highway, and it also allowed for a Venice native to make up a 1 minute gap and win the marathon. What are the chances you would run a marathon?
I would run, but I wouldn't finish.
Good point. Good point. You got to wake up really early, though. It's like really early in the morning.
I ran cross country for 4 years in high school, but that's 3 miles. And we were pushing people down half of it.
We have some statue news. Keep it moving or hit the brakes.
You must. It's mandatory. You hit the brakes.
Jalen Rose is the senior statue analyst, not just at ESPN, but of the world. And the news is the statue from Rocky III could sell for up to $1 million. This is, yep, that's him with his arms raised up, boxing gloves on. Here's the catch, though. It is the backup statue used in case something happened to the first one. Smart by the artist that did it. Question for you. Would you care if it was the real statue or the backup statue?
I wouldn't care because it's become so iconic and it identifies so much with the city of Philadelphia that there are people out here that actually think Sylvester Stallone is from there. It's crazy.
Brace yourself. Jalen Rose is about to explain a movie plot.
Explain the plot to Rocky III.
You know I know the plot to Rocky. Is that the one Mr. T was in? Clubber Lang wasn't in that? What about Apollo Creed?
Oh, Mr. T was in it.
See? You giving misinformation. I pity the fool who don't know the difference between a Rocky movie 1 and 2. Especially
You're
when
watching
it's 3.
Jalen and Jacoby. We'll be back tomorrow if we don't get canceled. This October, Blue Apron is celebrating its 5th anniversary by bringing back its top 20 recipes from the last 5 years. They're all picked by you, the Blue Apron community. I am part of the Blue Apron community. I love Blue Apron. Your favorite Blue Apron recipes are all back on the menu just for a limited time. Blue Apron is all about giving the people what they want. What the people want is fresh recipes to explore as they learn to cook new dish after new dish. Which is why, and a lot of people don't realize this, they don't repeat recipes within 1 calendar year. This is what makes this limited time offer so exciting. You can get the best Blue Apron recipes picked by the Blue Apron community right now. Blue Apron delivers seasonal recipes along with pre-portioned ingredients to make delicious home-cooked meals. You can customize your recipes each week based on your own preferences. Every meal comes with a step-by-step, easy-to-follow recipe card with the pre-portioned ingredients, and they all get prepared in 40 minutes or less. Blue Apron's freshness guarantee promises that every ingredient in your delivery arrives ready to cook, and if it doesn't, they will make it right. You can check out this week's menu and get $30 off your first meal with free shipping by going to blueapron.com/Jalen. You will love how good it feels, how good it tastes. You will love creating incredible home-cooked meals with Blue Apron, so do not wait. That is blueapron.com/Jalen. Take advantage of this opportunity. Blue Apron, a better way to cook.
And now, Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN Radio.
When I pop the trunk, head to death. Y'all pop the trunk, I pop the hood. Now act stupid, I'll pop the trunk. Now give me your boom.
He is Jalen Rose.
You know what it is. What up, Doe?
I'm David Jacoby.
And on the cool check-in. Center stage on the mic.
And we putting it on wax. It's the new style.
We're Jalen and Jacoby. What do we do?
We get to find individuals that have supported this amazing program exactly what they want when they need it for 6 years and counting. Podcast, television, and radio.
Shout out.
There's a lot of discussion today about Patrick Beverley and Lonzo Ball and LeVar Ball and blah, blah, blah. But you know who broke it all down perfectly? Uncle Snoop. Let's listen.
I think that his father put him in the lion's den with some pork chop drawers on. And he didn't have to work himself up out of it.
That was very accurate. It was succinct. It was entertaining. After the game, Patrick Beverley, who obviously covered Lonzo Ball the entire day, basically said the same thing as Snoop, but in a nicer way. Let's listen to that.
I just have to set the tone, man. I told him about the game, man, due to, all the riffraff his dad brings, that he's gonna get a lot of people coming at him. He has to be ready for that, and I'll let him know after the game. But
Jalen, do you think all of the bodaciousness of LeVar Ball will actually really affect Lonzo Ball in the National Basketball Association?
No.
You think it's just like game one and all this focus, but by the time we get to January, no one cares?
All of this is media-driven. The same media that were clamoring for the Lonzo Ball era to begin. Mm-hmm. The Lakers are back. No, they're not.
Not even close.
And while I think he clearly has what it takes to be a productive NBA player, wouldn't be surprised if he made a couple of all-star teams. I like his game. This trajectory of us taking the baton and run it with it like he's coming in the league and being Shaq, Tim Duncan, or LeBron James from day one, that's just not accurate.
But it is not accurate, but don't you think that part of that is a function of his father?
A part of that is a function of his father, but the reason why is, if you notice, like Bundini Brown, for all of you youngsters, you could just Google it. That was Mike Tyson's hype man forever. Lonzo Ball doesn't talk a lot. His father's basically doing the promotions for him. And how about this? Say his father had not said anything about his son.
Okay.
We wouldn't be saying as much about him either.
That's fair, and that's also what Patrick Beverley is trying to say, and what Uncle Snoop is trying to say is that also is going to make it harder on him because of his dad keeping his name in our mouths, and because we're bigging up this Lonzo experience, like you said, we're all waiting for this Lonzo era that opposing point guards and teams will be focused on shutting him down.
They were going to be focused on shutting down a player that got picked in the lottery anyway that's standing in front of them that's a rookie. That's what happens. So, I got a rookie tomorrow? I'm going to bed tonight. I'm going to make sure I get a good night's sleep. I'm about to handle that. And because, again, his father has been very vocal, as you mentioned, he's not. Mm-hmm. So it's hard to be that way in theory towards him physically when he's not saying anything.
No, and I watched the whole game. It wasn't that bad. Like, it really wasn't that bad. It wasn't like, he completely shut him down and he wasn't functional in an NBA basketball game. Like, it was a bad game, but it didn't seem like, we've ruined Lonzo Ball forever.
And now his father has a rebuttal for Patrick Beverley, and who is he, and he doesn't have his own shoe.
Of course, yeah, blah,
and
blah,
things
blah.
like that. Everybody that's fortunate enough to collect the check to be a professional at something, in this case is basketball, you are somebody.
I'm also kind of putting it on ESPN and other networks that have basically said, hey, LeVar, are you available? LeVar, are you available tomorrow? Come on this show. LeVar, are you available to come on this show? Are you available to come on this show? We've enabled this and we've created this. And somewhere Lonzo Ball is like, I think they are playing harder defense on me because of all of this.
No, you know the theory. Build up to tear down. Mm-hmm. That's what happened post-game yesterday. That's all. He'll be just fine.
Moving on to Marshawn Lynch. Marshawn Lynch was ejected from the Chiefs-Raiders game. We've all seen it by now. There was, the shove, and there was a fight with Marcus Peters. Him and Marcus Peters are very close for a long time, stayed at each other's houses and all this. So he came into the fray, and he was sort of there to calm everything down, to talk to Marcus Peters. And in doing so, he pushed the referee, as you see, very clearly. And then he was ejected from the game, which is natural when you push a referee. That's going to happen. And there were reports that he got dressed, got in his car, and he left. Well, guess what? Didn't get dressed, get in his car, and leave. He stayed in the stands, Bobby Valentine style. and watched the game from the stands. And then, on the way home, him and Marcus Peters took the BART, and they were chanting vulgar things about the Chiefs on the Bay Area Rapid Transit line, which I rode in, which is excellent public transit. So, here we have a night in which he has pushed a ref, broken the rules, snuck back into a stadium, and started a vulgar chant, or engaged in a vulgar chant on public transit, yet he still comes off so likable. What is it about Marshawn Lynch that makes him so lovable?
This is so easy. And what Marshawn Lynch does for public consumption, I promise, I've been trying to do this, and I think it's been successful since 1991.
What's that?
Show that you're vulnerable. You're not perfect. Don't try to act like you live in a glass house. So therefore, when you put this pristine image out there, say like Tiger Woods, now you have people sniffing around trying to say, aha, gotcha, I knew you was a phony. As opposed to Marshawn, I'm just doing me. Mm-hmm. You know, do you like it? Cool. If you don't like it, cool.
But it is odd when you look at it. Like if I was an alien that came here and be like, what did he do last night? I'd be like, all right, he pushed a referee and then he broke the rules and snuck back into the game and then he took Bay Area Transit home and was chanting a swear word about the opposing team. I'd be like, well, that's not a very nice guy. But when you experience it, you're like, I love Marshawn Lynch. I want to buy 7 Marshawn Lynch jerseys so I can wear one every day of the week.
And when you talk about enable, as we mentioned with LeVar Ball, it's one thing not to speak to the media for as long as he did. Mm-hmm. But then all of a sudden it became commercial to the point where he started getting paid as an endorser to do the exact same thing. Mm-hmm. So when you double down on who you are, you do become likable. People accept and appreciate you for being something that everybody called themselves, but they're not. You know the word? Real.
He's real. Can we have him on the show?
Absolutely.
He's on the guest list, right?
I got him on the text.
Text him up. GQ sat down with Joel Embiid. They asked him if he could go back and change anything, if he could give some advice to young Joel Embiid, which is kind of odd because he's about 24. And he replied, quote, I would say, don't ever talk to Rihanna. What? I got a lot to worry about. Basketball is more important. But yeah, I would say don't talk to Rihanna. Don't tweet at her. What do you think about that?
He's somebody that is a lovable personality, a terrific player. If he can stay healthy, the sky's the limit. As it relates to the Rihanna thing, it was one of those bark up that tree, it will fall on you. Mm-hmm. It seemed like a cute thing to do, but then you realize that I'm kind of being childish here. Yeah. And I'm not getting any play. You look back and say that wasn't.
But it's also it's like, Joel, you're not playing in the basketball games. You're giving us something to talk about when you tweet at Rihanna. You know, you're keeping your name in our mouths at least. Now, we're only 1 or 2 games into the season, but we had some things that we thought might happen during the year, and some of what we've seen thus far has confirmed what we already thought. We have some good news and some bad news for NBA teams and their fans. We're going to start with the local Lakers. Some bad news for the Lakers. Guess what? It's not Lonzo Ball you should be worried about. It's Brandon Ingram. Do you agree, Mr. Rose?
I do, and I talked about this last year, and being an NBA analyst, a lot of times people try to take a personal correlation to why they think that you're talking about a certain player. So for me, it's like, oh, because Kobe torched you, you don't like the Lakers. Or because he
played at Duke. Yeah.
You don't like Brandon Ingram. I root for all people to get paid to play basketball for a really long time. I just don't think the level of player that they need him to be, and I'm talking perennial all-star, when you're drafting a guy that high in purple and gold, is not his trajectory. Mm-hmm. And you could say, well, he's still a young player.
He is, young man.
Absolutely. But you know one thing about young players that become perennial all-stars? They start young.
They start, exactly. And also, if you look at the rookie deal, it only lasts for so long. And here he is in the second year, not showing too many signs of perennial all-starness thus far. And we say small sample size, but we've seen a lot of Brandon Ingram.
How many games, and I just want to go for some young players on non-playoff teams. So these are young players, anchor of the franchise, but they still play on non-playoff teams. Anthony Davis. Mm-hmm. Joel Embiid. Before this year, Karl Anthony Towns and Wiggins.
Anthony Davis made the playoffs once, but sure.
But you still saw them be great young players.
Yes.
And they still weren't good enough to lift their team to the playoffs.
We weren't wondering if Anthony Davis was great. We weren't wondering if Karl Anthony Towns was great. We are still left wondering if Brandon Ingram is great. But let's move on. We've got some good news. Can't all be negative. Everyone predicted that this was the year that Giannis Antetokounmpo was going to break out.
No surprises.
Everyone said it. And guess what? Watch a game or two. Giannis Antetokounmpo is about to break out. He had 37 points, 13 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals in the opener versus Boston. More action tonight. What do you think the ceiling is for Giannis's year?
So, all of us have our own fallacies of things they hope to get accomplished one day. For me, I like to project young players and be right. But I don't get rewarded because I'm not a GM or president of a squad. So it's not like I get a chance to see that young player become something of a success, and now I get a chance to go to practice every day and be like I try to tell you guys. But this is one of those guys. What were I calling their squad the day he got picked?
Team Futuristic?
Just think about that. This was what year is this for him?
This is his 3rd year, I believe?
Correct.
Maybe
and so
fourth. Maybe fourth.
And so, of the league players, LeBron James is going to win MVP. The Greek Freak is going to be second.
Ooh.
Remember I told you this. No doubt about it.
I'm not so sure.
No doubt about it. And I'm a voter. I'm already writing it down. I'm already knowing this.
Don't tell them that. They might take your vote away. They might take your vote away.
Hey, man, let me tell you something. To be in the top 20 in all major statistical categories overall, hey, man, the sky's the limit.
Some more bad news. Chris Paul might regret not taking that over $200 million deal from the Clippers that was on the table.
Hit the brakes.
Okay.
It's no might to it.
Ooh.
When you can't finish the first game a win at Golden State because the coach says you were dragging your knee, you cost yourself millions of dollars.
He wasn't healthy last year either.
And whatever that means will be determined, but I guarantee you, and I hate to say this, I love CP3.
Of course. Who doesn't love CP3?
And he's a JRLA
Hanging out
supporter.
with Jay-Z? Bob Iger?
Forget Jay-Z. He's a JRLA supporter.
Oh, okay. I didn't know he was a JRLA supporter.
No question.
A fellow JRA supporter.
No question.
It's part of the fraternity.
Absolutely. But here's the thing. Whenever he does sign, it won't be for that number again.
5 or 200?
200.
I don't think it'll be for either. Let's move on. Some more good news. The good news is for middling teams in the Eastern Conference, the race to lose to the Cavs in the Eastern Conference Finals is wide open. It's wide open. I can see your Bucks getting in there. I can see the Wizards getting in there. I can see the Raptors getting in there. I can see the Celtics getting in there. It doesn't have this predetermined destiny that it felt like it did before the Gordon Hayward injury.
No surprise. I'm rolling with you on that. Terrible way for Gordon Hayward to start off his career with the Boston Celtics.
It kind of ruined the whole night.
He just, an unfortunate setback, but I'm guaranteeing that's going to be a setup for him to come back and be just as effective as a player. Like I said with Sean Livingston, I said the exact same thing with Paul George, but I agree with you. The East behind the Cavs is clearly wide open because we all know they're winning it, that conference regardless, when playoff time comes.
Some bad news for the Timberwolves. If this is the year that you're going to make the leap and you got this new team and get to the playoffs, you can't get beaten like that by the Spurs. The Spurs without Kawhi Leonard.
That's the key. And I'm glad we broached that topic on this program because we had their game that evening. And that's what, to me, the headlines and the rest of the media overlooked. Is that the Spurs are still good.
Well, the Spurs are not that good, and they don't have Kawhi Leonard.
Again, let me just say what you're doing. The Spurs are still good.
I disagree.
You just said it. They won without Kawhi Leonard.
I think that's more about the Timberwolves than it is the Spurs.
That's more about the Spurs.
Finally, our final piece of good news, Jalen Rose. I know it's very early in the season, so we don't want to make predetermined, conclusions. But the waves on Countdown look great this season.
Thank you.
The waves on Countdown look excellent. Like, you must have been brushing and putting do-rags on. I don't know what's happening. Look at those waves. And they look so good. By the end of the season, I think that we are going to see some much improved waves. Like, You could surf on those waves. You could surf on those waves. Look at you, Jalen Rose. You really stepped your game up. You know, you gotta add something new every year, the Podfather told me, and you've decided to add waves to your game, and I congratulate you.
Thank you, family. I give all salute and homage to Reggie on the board. Without him, there would be no way.
Shout out.
We always give the people what they want. Again, we're preempted by baseball on the radio today, so we're going to do some exclusive content for our podcast listeners, our favorite fans. Love people who listen to the podcast every day.
Yes, indeed.
On Reddit, there's a whole community of people that listen to the podcast, and they comment on the podcast, and they send in questions. So if you go to reddit.com/r/Jalen and Jacoby, make sure you sign up, subscribe to that community. I'm in there checking out what people are saying about the show. And we got some questions from Reddit. Soft move or boss move? This is from Cornrow Mello. Gaining some thickness to play bully ball and pickup. And I'm not talking about in the gym. I'm talking about the buffet. So Cornrow Mello is putting some little extra weight on himself so he can play bully ball, but I think he means push people out of the way at the buffet.
It's definitely a boss move.
Okay, good.
Anytime you're trying to be more physical in sports, that's always a positive
Always
thing.
a boss move. This one's from R. Parker and you, also from our Reddit.
Shout out.
Can Jalen pull us behind the curtain on the process when NBA players get traded? Does the new team pay for relocation? Great question. How does it work if the player has a family? Great questions.
Yeah. So it basically works like this. Usually, if you're a productive player, you kind of see it coming. Because, and I don't want to get too technical here, but people still forget that the NBA is what kind of basketball?
Professional.
Correct. And so, which means if there are 30 NBA squads and 15 players per team, when you're selling tickets and selling jerseys, these individuals also have fans. So if you're going to move somebody that's been a productive player, you have to start justifying it for a lot of people so they're not upset at the squad. Like people were as Knicks fans, for example, when they traded Rod Strickland. I know people that felt like they never wanted to root for them again.
I used to be a Knicks fan. They had Strickland, then they traded him. Ever since then, son, I hated him.
Boom. And so that example came to me because what ends up happening is the local media and the team start to sully your name. The things that you were already doing and allowed you to still be a productive member of the squad now irks everybody. I saw it happen with Vince Carter. They started paying attention to where his mom parked at the game. And now all of a sudden his injuries became a big deal to the point where they eventually ran him out of town. And I'll never forget waking up one day and I said, we traded Vince Carter to the Nets? Great.
Who we get?
Did we get Jason Kidd in return?
No. Keith Van Horn?
No. And by the way, I loved my brothers that we brought back from the trade, Eric and Aaron. I'm just saying, like, Vince is a future Hall of Famer. So initially they sully your name. They start talking about things that people don't see. Like, oh, Jacoby's not working as hard.
In practice.
You know, his attitude has changed.
Yeah.
You know, all things that you can't truly quantify. And then they start lowering your minutes, taking away your opportunities. Because guess what? If they know you're not going to be there, they're going to start
preparing for life
role.
without you. You got to prepare for life without Jalen Rose.
Correct.
Guess what that means? Less Jalen Rose on the basketball floor.
Correct. And so that is normally what happens. And
do they pay for relocation?
The new team pays for relocation. As it relates to your family and friends, they care nothing about your personal well-being.
Yeah.
It's, we trade you, you got 72 hours to report, and you got a game.
Yeah.
And or practice.
So it's like, oh, if you have a wife and 3 kids at the house, guess what? You're going to be in Chicago, and your wife and 3 kids are going to be in Indianapolis, and you can deal with that on your own. Get a nanny. Moving on, if you call 985-80-JALEN, you can leave us voicemails. Ladies, don't forget, every Wednesday we do female-only voicemails. Ladies, we always need you to participate. Make sure you call up 985-80-JALEN, leave us voicemails for next Wednesday. Fellas, we got plenty of voicemails from you like this one.
What up, though? Jalen, Jacoby, it's your boy Phil from Brooklyn. Want to give a shout-out to Reg. Want to give a shout-out to the other 11 people that's working behind the scenes, doing their thing, making sure that, you know, y'all always got a dope pod to step to, and I got starting to listen to while I'm here at work doing my Thug Nizzle and whatnot. So, I got 2 things I want to say and ask. Well, you guys got to work with me right now, so I had a little bit of this mood. So yeah, that's kind of like not a bad example, but quick thing. So Jalen, while you in the city or whatnot, are you gonna ride the train? You know, you're in New York City. Last time I remember listening to one of the pods, and yo, you gotta ride the train. Jacoby, make him ride the train, man. You and Molly get on the train. You know, y'all can hit it, take some pictures for the gram or whatnot. We could be like, yo, my man Jalen done rode the train. The whole crew. Other than that, my next thing is it a soft move or a boss move? So a while ago, my girl, she always see me playing NBA 2K, and she wanted to learn how to play. So I taught her how to play. So it was a while ago, I had the fellas over, we was all chilling and whatnot, and I was like, yo, I bet any amount of money that my girl could beat at least a couple of y'all in a couple of games. So with 4 dudes, my girl ended up going 3-1. So boss move or soft move, teaching your girl how to play 2K and hustling your homies out of some bread. Get back at me, let me know what y'all think. Yo, thanks for having a good pod for me to listen to while I'm here at work at night and not, keep my mind excited and keep me juiced up. Yep, with this, Lou. Holla.
Love Phil.
We appreciate the shout and the love.
Can I start with the train thing?
Of course.
Here's the thing. I'm a New Yorker. I lived there for 15 years. The train's the best way to get around. And the people that don't take the train, they think that, they're a little intimidated by it or whatever. It's simply pragmatic. It is the best way to get around. And people are clowning Phil Jackson or whatever for riding the subway. It's just the best way to get around. There's a lot of traffic in New York City. I don't know if you know this. A lot of people on a small island. The fastest and most efficient way is to take the subway. Now, someone like Jalen Rose. I understand if you're there in New York, you're by yourself, you don't want to have to ask questions about whether this is going uptown or downtown or where do I transfer, how do I transfer, how do I get to the red line from here when I get off the blue line. I will be there with you, Jalen. We will ride the train. Actually, I think we're all going to be in the same neighborhood the whole time, to be honest with you. But Jalen has said to me on multiple occasions, I need to learn the train system.
I want to ride the train. I look forward to the opportunity of riding the train. It's something ever since I started watching movies like Beat Street on TV. Mm-hmm. I wanted to ride in the movies. I wanted to ride the train then. I was like, I can't wait to get to New York, break dance, and ride the train.
Trains look different now, but yeah. So here's the difference. Here's the difference between you and me, though. You're famous. And here's the thing. When you're walking in the streets, you can say what up to people, give the people what they want, take a picture, give them a pound, keep it moving. Problem with being in the train car. Can't keep it moving. You're kind of stuck there in a tin can, underground, and when people are hollering at you, maybe they're, a little aggressive with it. They want you to give them some money or something, and then you're going to have to talk to them because you can't leave.
And also, Phil, I just have to say, some of my favorite people, I was just writing down a couple of names, represent Brooklyn, like DJ Clark Kent, Big, Fab, Mos Def.
Lance Stevenson.
Do they have...
Mo Badanga.
Do they have... Biggie a statue in front of where the Nets play.
You know what? Let's make one. Let's make one and bring it there.
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's make one and bring it there. That's my old neighborhood.
And definitely it's a boss move teaching your wifey how to play NBA 2K.
Phil knew we were going to say it's a boss move.
And hustle everybody that you can.
Uh-huh.
No doubt about it.
Split the money, though, 50-50.
And the other good thing about her learning to play the game, more quality time together.
Exactly. Thank you so much for the call, Phil. Remember, if you call 985-80-JALEN, you can leave us a voicemail just like this.
Yo, Jalen, Jacoby. Hey, man. I heard y'all coming to New York. Yo, stop by my crib. We're going to have a barbecue. Y'all invited. You invite me to your show, I'll invite you to my house to have a barbecue. Excuse me. I got some food in my mouth. I'm eating a croissant right now. I'm on break. Yeah, but, stop by. Y'all coming to New York. You family, I'm family, Fab's family, it's a New York family. You come through for the barbecue, man. Come eat. Yo, hit my Twitter handle, Wide7 out for the address. You can come to the barbecue, man. All right, y'all, peace.
What time's the barbecue? He didn't tell us what time it was at.
He said we could come anytime.
Anytime? Is he really having a barbecue?
He would. It seems like if we
hit him before,
no question.
ahead of time.
First off, we appreciate the invite,
and I appreciate barbecue.
That's love.
Yeah,
and we love barbecue. Yes, we will be in New York City Saturday night.
Mm-hmm.
I think at 5:30 p.m. Eastern, and then we're going to the Knicks game.
I heard they're already at capacity at the event, though. So if you didn't get in,
really, New York City
sold out.
No such thing as capacity.
Sold out. The fire
Standing room
marshal.
only.
Everyone always blames the fire marshal. Oh, you can't get in the club. Fire marshal rules.
Standing room only.
Next question we have is from Big Crown, co-producer Big Crown, the greatest mail carrier in the history of mail carriers.
Shout out.
Big Crown's family actually started the Pony Express. Did you know that?
I did not know this.
Yeah, Big Crown's ancestors originated the Pony Express. They've been getting letters to and fro around this country for decades, if not centuries. I love Big Crown and his family full of mail carriers. His question is, Jacoby, is Seinfeld the cultural? I love it. Is Seinfeld the cultural? I think it means, is Seinfeld cultural? No. It's not. No. But it's close. It's not cultural, but it's close. The same way Star Wars isn't cultural. I would say it's predominantly people that look like me that are really into Seinfeld.
That makes it cultural, sir.
Predominantly, though. Predominantly. I'm saying it's on the line, but I'm going to say no, it is not cultural.
I'll say it is.
Reggie's pushing no over and over because Reggie loves some Seinfeld. And now that I know his name is Jerome, can't be cultural. His name is Jerome. The lead of the show is named Jerome. It's not cultural. Let's listen to another voicemail.
Jalen and Jacoby, what up, though? This is Riley from Denver.
Yep,
on my last voicemail, I may or may not have been on my medicinal. That's neither here nor there. I got a couple things. First thing, when I'm listening to the pod, sometimes I hear a text chime go off. I'm like, is that my phone? No, it's Jalen's phone, not on vibrate. Come on, bro. Second, when we leave voicemails, sometimes you get to rambling like I did last time. If you had that feature where you could listen to the voicemail before you actually submitted it, maybe that would help Reg out. I don't know. But my question is, with the kangaroo apocalypse, if it does come to fruition, as Jacoby says, Jalen, are you going to go back to Fat Jalen? Because you would just, blend in with the kangaroos. Let me know. Peace.
Riley's on that strong medicinal because that is brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant.
Yep, medicinal.
Let me just tell you a quick brief thing. I think the kangaroos are going to try to take over in the same way the apes took over in Planet of the Apes. I'll give you my reasoning later. Jalen Rose, when he gains weight, looks like
a kangaroo.
Why?
Because when I'm fat and out of shape, my stomach and my butt stick out simultaneously in opposite directions.
Like a kangaroo. So now, when the kangaroo apocalypse is happening, all you got to do is gain 50 pounds. They won't even notice that you're not a kangaroo. Riley, brilliant. Brilliant, Riley.
Myself, I know somebody else who will be able to survive, too. Boris Diaw.
Oh, yeah, Boris Diaw. Boris Diaw is collaborating with the kangaroos. Telling you. He is. Let's listen to one more voicemail.
What up, Doe? Yo, it's Charlie calling out from San Francisco. Well, I was listening to yesterday's podcast, right? And I just finished, but I heard that Jacoby, was a Family Feud champion. And low key new listener to the podcast, I never heard about the Family Feud victory. So, checked it out on YouTube, and I see a video, and I check it out, and Jacoby just takes it to the bank. He carried the team home. I mean, he put Jalen Rose on his back. And the beautiful thing about the video is that I didn't even see Jalen Rose's answer. He edited the video for just Jacoby. Like, literally just Jacoby's answer. I saw the answers because they were on the screen before, and they didn't look good. No offense, Jalen, shout out. But Jacoby put the team on his back, though, and took it home. That was sick. I ain't gonna lie. And, hey, Jalen, you gotta, get this guy a massage or something, because his back hurt on the way home, bro. He carried you, man. But anyways, shout out the podcast and shout out Reg, shout out Carlos, shout out Baron, shout out everybody. Y'all have a good day. Yep, medicinal.
Thank you for the call. Appreciate the love.
Do we get any sober voicemails today?
And today's show definitely has a theme.
It does.
Yep, medicinal.
And here's the thing. I applaud those that support our program. So don't feel like you can't call, be a part of the family, and or chastise, nudge, or challenge one of the members of the show.
No problem.
No problem at all. We're not that sensitive. We don't take it personal. Here's something I must say on wax.
Okay, bring it.
A lot of people that are celebrities or public figures, big brothers, friends, have major egos or whatever, please listen up, put your ear to the speaker. I don't always have to be the standout, outstanding, look at me member of the squad. Jacoby carrying the team, I'm perfectly fine with it.
It's a team.
I didn't think twice about it.
Amina, Jimmy, Ben, they all carried us through the early rounds too. It's a team effort.
Especially when we were doing it for the Jalen Rose Leadership Academy, where my brothers run a marathon for us. He sponsored a couple of students. As a matter of fact, that level of support, along with two of our guests today, Brian and George.
New
They're
family
also
members.
Here, you know what I mean? Representing Northern California. So, based on what he saw on Family Feud is just right. Jalen, yes, may be the person that a lot of people have named their son or daughter after. My mom gets all of the credit because she made up the name. But it is great that Jacoby's a superstar player at Family Feud.
They better have me back for All-Stars or something.
Correct.
They better have me back for All-Stars.
There has to be a speed round score minimum, maximum.
And Jay, let's be honest, let's be real. You've been close to a lot of championships.
Correct.
And I'm just so happy that I can provide you the championship that you've always missed out on.
No question. I'm glad you didn't call timeout.
We got one more voicemail.
J&J, this your boy Jay Smooth giving you a call from ATL. Originally I was going to let this slide, but it just kept becoming a continuing issue. For the last couple of weeks, you guys have been unable to get the opening intro in order. I find this unacceptable. That's usually the best part of the podcast, getting ready and pumped for the get people what they want. But you guys just can't seem to get on one accord now. I'm very upset. So as a form of protest, I'll be taking the knee until you guys are able to get the intro correct. And it used to be cultural to send a sternly worded email, but I'm going to take it on my part to send a thoroughly worded email to the execs at ESPN who don't see the show at 2 o'clock a.m. to let them know exactly what's going on at J&J. Consider this as a warning. You are put on notice. And I will be mentioning all of your names. So you are all consider yourselves jammed up. I'm going to mention your names. No child for anyone until you guys get the opening intro straight. I'm out. Peace.
I like that Jay Smooth, he came with some tough love there at the end.
Peace up. A-Town down.
Jay Smooth is like, look, I love the show, but you know what? If you guys aren't performing, I'm going to call up and let you know. And another thing is I love Enter the 36 Chambers album. And one thing I love about that album is RZA would just push record, and if you messed up, he'd just be like, keep going. We're using this take. And that's what we do here at Jalen Jacoby. We could re-record the intro when Reggie messes it up, and I say Reggie because Reggie's usually the one that messes it up. But that's not what we get. That's not how we get down here. Everything goes on what, Reggie?
Whoa, so hold on.
Hold on, Reg. Stop.
You cook.
I'll say that we've probably messed it up 8 times. I've messed it up probably 2 of those 8 times. Jalen's messed it up 0 of those 8 times because it's really important to Jalen that he gets it right. You messed it up the other 6 times, Reggie. So listen, I'll own my 25% of this. You need to own your 75% of this. Jalen, now Reggie's in my ear saying 3 times he messed it up.
This is a perfect example that represents the opposite of what I just said to the caller about Family Feud.
Exactly.
Right?
Throw each other under the bus at any time you can. That's what family does.
Especially if you're right.
I might have messed it up 3 times. Thanks so much. Don't forget, we'll be in New York City on Saturday. If you were lucky enough to join us, we look forward to doing that. We'll be back on ESPN2 and with the pod on Monday. Enjoy your weekend. Be safe out there.
We're not done.